welcome Matt and Kendal Hagee.
Hello and welcome to The Difference. Today we're discussing the balancing act. How do you live your life to your absolute best and include others and make space for the things that they enjoy as well?
That's right. It's all about balance. I know a mom of four, it's always a busy to-do list. But good Lord, I'm grateful that God never gives you more than you can handle. So I want you to hashtag as GLIG and flood social media and tell the world what you're grateful for today.
Absolutely. Each and every one of us know what it's like to be busy, but the thing that you need to do is make sure the moment you're in is one you're enjoying and sharing with those that you dearly love. Speaking of things that we love to do and share, that really always leads us straight to the kitchen and plates of food. Today, we have a very special guest joining us. She's an author, a speaker, photographer, lawyer, mother, keeper of bees, chickens, and many other things.
Homeschools 7 children.
Homeschool, and I think all of them are hers. So anyway, it's a wonderful opportunity for you to join us right here in the kitchen. Would you please help us welcome Miss Stacy Lyn Harris? Hello, Stacy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good to see
Great
you.
to be here.
Good to see you. Thank
so
you
good
for
to be
coming.
here.
So,
yeah, I'm so excited.
You have some absolutely beautiful plates.
I'm going to go ahead and sit down and look at
Yeah,
I'm going to not get too close because me and tomato sauce wear each other often. But one of the things that you really focus on is the food you raise and the things you harvest. Now,
right.
Tell us about that and how that translates to the kitchen and your family.
Well, it all started, I guess, with me and my husband. And so he was a big hunter. And I learned a lot from my grandmother growing up about cooking and, eating things from the farmer's market. She would get some from the farmer's market. She would get some from her garden. And then I went away from it a little bit, went to law school, got career-minded.
Yeah, beef grows on grocery store shelves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then I met my husband, that we've been married for a long time. It might give away how old I am, so I'm not going to tell you how long. But he hunted, obsessively. And so
what is an obsessive amount of hunting?
Okay,
watching back home, they say once or twice a year, maybe.
No, that's limited. No. If you go once or twice a year, that's limited.
Very limited. Yeah. They can be wild about it if they want to be, but no. It's every morning and every afternoon. Every morning and every afternoon of every day.
And how did he get that to work?
And so, well, he made it work. If he had to get up at the break of dawn and he'd get to work, whatever.
You weren't standing on the front porch with
a
frying pan?
No. Now, when we got married, he backed off of that. So, and then it was just on the weekends every morning, every night. And then I was getting,
a little upset about that.
Yeah, that wasn't working.
Yeah, quality time was not out of balance.
Yes, and then he went to dental school, and when he went there, I wasn't seeing him very much because he was in dental school, and I was like, so I was getting upset, and I'm like, you know what? I've got to do something. And it was like, God told me, you need to stop bucking him and you need to bend with him. What is it that you can do? And
that's a word. Bucking or bending.
Yeah, and I was reading a book and it kind of, I think it was by Cynthia Heald, and it was, it kind of was saying some of those same things, and I was like, okay, I'm going to bend and I'm going to just start making what he making
the way
food.
To a man's heart is the kitchen.
Yeah.
When Kendal and I first got married, the first day I came home from work, I walked into the garage and underneath the door of the garage, this aroma was coming, and I was like, someone is cooking me dinner. I didn't even care what was on the other side of the door. I was like, I smell food, and so what is it that you started doing with the food that he was bringing home that kind of brought you guys back together?
Well, I didn't much like the way it tasted, just when he made it. So I started looking up some old recipes using old cuts of meat, from a long time ago. They didn't have things pumped in them. They, were foraging type, animals, so they had a lot of muscle fiber and all that. And so when I started cooking it the way that the ancient people did,
the way that Grandma had to cook,
it was
what
so
Grandpa brought
good.
home.
Yeah, so I just cooked the different cuts with the manner that it worked. I braised the shoulder and, ate the loins rare, or either pounded it out, broke up the muscle fiber and the connective tissue, and, there you have it. And so once I learned that, I started loving food. So then I was like, this is so healthy, so why not start a garden? So we started a garden. And, that's all how that happened. Then the chickens came, and then the bees, and I have stories for all of that.
I can't wait. So how do you start off when you get, because we do we bring it home, but I'm like,
what cut do we have here?
This is a beautiful, by the way. Somebody got all the silver skin off of that. Look at that. Beautiful. And this is a loin. This is the backstrap.
That's what I did with a limited hunting schedule. Could you imagine how good I could have done if I was obsessively hunting?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah. Now, the meat that's there is actually harvested by my kids. And
how awesome.
You know, one of the things that we do as a family is, and it's really kind of been my feat since I was a dad, is I don't hunt as much as I guide.
Yes.
I get to take them hunting.
Okay, it's so much fun.
You know, here's a firm belief I have. If I go hunting with my kids, I won't have to go hunting for my
your kids. And that is so true.
Know, if I go spend time with them, I mean, people say, oh, you killed a deer. No. We harvested an animal that is going to perish from this life anyway.
That's exactly right.
And now in its perishing, it has a purpose.
That's right.
Not only does it have a purpose to bring food, but it also has a purpose of building a relationship.
And
I spent probably 35 hours with each of my kids making sure that they were able to harvest an animal this year.
Yes,
now, how many dads do you know get to find a reason to spend 35 hours one-on-one quietly, there's no video game, there's no iPad, there's no cell phone, and they want to be there.
Exactly. Right.
You know, the kids want to be there. So, I mean, that's what you got there, and yes, I
they
did
bring the
get all
meat
the
home
silver
to
things.
mom, but how do I start doing, what's my first step?
Well, the first step to make this, now you could just salt and pepper this, put it in a skillet, you could half it, or if you had a bigger skillet or whatever, and just roll it over, get it brown on every side, and eat it, let it rest, and then eat it plain. You know, great. This cut of meat would be perfect for that. But for what we're doing today, I am gonna, do you want me to just go ahead? Okay.
Go.
And so I'm gonna just slice off a piece of this loin.
And you cut just straight down?
You just cut straight down. And I would do all of the rest the same way.
No magic angles?
And no magic angles. Not on this. Now, if you were doing a hind quarter, you would want to cut across the grain, but not until after you cooked it. But you could also do a hind quarter with this.
When you talk technical terms like hind quarter, tenderloins.
That would be the roast.
Yeah, exactly. But all that's in your book.
Yes, you have a cookbook that just came
Yes.
But it's not only about cooking, but also has personal stories in it.
It has personal stories, and it has tips, and it's got how to can, how to preserve. It's got just what herbs to use. I mean, just a ton of stuff.
Now, and here's something that I notice, and you know, knowing that this information's in your book, I encourage people to get your book. Tell us the name.
Oh, it's Stacy Lyn's Harvest Cookbook.
When it comes to food like this, that the kids know that they've had a role in providing.
Right.
You should see my kids, and I'm sure you're familiar with it yourself. Hey, Dad, what are we eating tonight? And you tell them, well, this was the deer that you know, your brother Joel shot. And all of a sudden, Joel just kind of, he sits up a little taller, and the food tastes a little better. And, you know, I mean, he kind of tips his hat to the rest of his family like, you know, you can thank me later.
And I love it when the kids can bring something to the table. And, you know, a long time ago, they had kitchen gardens out in the back, and they would go and get the herbs and get things, bring it in. And so hunting is a way to do that. So it's a great thing.
You know, I know that a lot of you are looking at information that you find overwhelming. It's really not. It's a lot of fun if you're willing to give it a try. There's a lot of chances for you and your family to do things together that bring balance to your life. If you see it as a place where one of your endeavors is really out of whack, you can take some time to work together and bring the family to the table for a conversation that you won't forget. You're watching The Difference. We'll be right back after this.
What you see is a child reaching for her mother. There's nothing more beautiful than for a child to know that they're loved. There are thousands of children who are reaching for someone who will not reach back because they're not there. This is the reason we're building the Sanctuary of Hope. I want you to help me help these children have a mother that will take care of them, that will love them, that when they cry in the night, someone will come. When they get hungry, someone will feed them. When it comes time to teach them the way of the Lord, that someone will be there. And together, with the Sanctuary of Hope, we can make this happen. God bless you for all that you do to make the Sanctuary of Hope a reality.
Help give the gift of life. Call the number on the screen or visit jhm.org.
Enjoy watching The Difference but want a more behind-the-scenes look? Learn interesting facts about our guests. Comment on our segments. and find out more about the show by following Matt and Kendal on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Keep watching The Difference and follow us on social media to find out more.
Dear Pastor Hagee, I just wanted to write you to say how honored Rayla Jean and I are to have been partners in your ministry all these years, and to see all the amazing things you've accomplished around the world with the gifts we and others like us have gladly given over the years.
I want to thank you, our Salt Covenant partners, for making it possible for us to preach the gospel to the nations of the world. Thank you, and God bless you.
Become a Salt Covenant partner today. Call the toll-free number or visit jhm.org.
Welcome back to The Difference. Joining us now is Brian Sumner. He's the author of Never Fails, a 30-day marriage devotional. You know, Brian, when it comes to the topic of balance, people need to bring balance to their marriage because that's next to knowing Jesus Christ, the most important relationship that you've got. You know, now your story starts in Liverpool, in England, and then brings you to the United States. How'd that journey begin?
You know, growing up watching Police Academy 4, which you guys are young enough to know what it is.
I remember Police Academy before they numbered them. Yeah, so you're starting on 4.
On 4, and they had skateboarding, and I picked up a skateboard. I fell in love with it. As a kid in Liverpool, what do you want to do? Not knowing God, not knowing about life. And so skateboarding takes off for me. I'm in the magazines and videos. And before you know it, as we even talked earlier, you know, I'm now in America getting invited to skate for these big companies. And so Liverpool to America is quite the journey. And that's, my life just took that course.
So your ability in skateboarding really opened up a lot of doors.
Yes, it did.
That opened up doors for travel, opened up doors for money, opened up doors for success and fame, but it closed some other doors for you. What door did it close?
Well, I mean, I definitely, you know, didn't understand about God. Life was all about me. I fell in love with someone. We were married. Skating was kind of my focus. We went and raised in the faith. And so we fell in love. We had a child. And then before long, we're fighting. It's crazy. And so skating's a love. This woman and my child's a love. But I still didn't know the love of Jesus. So, you know, there was no room for God in my life. That door was definitely shut. So.
And you talk about how in your book, which you talk about this like devotion, you say that y'all were courting and then you got married within 4 months and everything happened so fast, but you didn't have the word of God as your, you know, like your biblical principle. But you were talking about anger management, that you had to go through community service.
Are you kidding? The docile guy from Liverpool has anger management issues?
Well, everyone from England is a soccer hooligan. You know, the Queen is a soccer hooligan. Mary Poppins, if she was real, would be a soccer hooligan. We're passive aggressive.
In Texas, the word hooligan might mean something different than England. So what's that mean?
It just means you're rowdy and you're ready to go, and people are in your face in England. You know, you guys have this great sense of humor. You know where everyone is. You're kind of relaxed with people. In England, it's more like, what are these people about? So now you bring a guy over to America. You're making a bunch of money. You're in love with this woman. You're trying to live out this life. Marriage is failing because we don't know the Lord. And we always joke saying, you know, we wrote the book on how not to be married. Thankfully, God wrote the book on how to be married. 4 months, we're married. We're in love. We're beautiful baby boy. Now we're fighting. Now we're divorced. I'm actually feeling depressed and suicidal. And this is, you know, when you're 22, 23, you're at the top of your game.
You're on a downward spiral.
Oh, you're all over the place. And I looked up one day and said,
career-wise, you're doing this. Personally, you're doing that.
Cover of magazines, signatures, you know, making $10,000, $20,000 a month. I mean, shoes are everywhere, a couple $100,000 a year. But
for
skateboarding, it blew up. You know, it's Tony Hawk, and so.
Well, and the timing of it was great. And, you know, the thing that I think is interesting as I'm listening to you tell your story is the two words that make up one big word, which is supernatural. You had a very natural experience in that you fell in love with somebody. You wanted to live your life with somebody. It doesn't really matter what part of your world you're in. If you grew up in the church or you grew up outside the church, that's natural. The challenge was that you didn't have the supernatural love of Jesus to help that natural relationship build.
No clue.
And so, you know, the things in this natural world kind of took your natural desire and just tore it apart. What changed everything?
Well, you know, you fall in love and you believe the whole Disney dream, happily ever after. Now we're divorced. I look up at God and say, whoever you are, I'm going to prove you're not real. I got in trouble, you know, anger management, community service. After 7 months, you know, number of completion, number of perfection, I came to faith. And
number of the months in the sentence, too.
Yeah.
Well, now I come to faith. I'd bought a house, invited her to stay with me because I want to, I mean, this is how sad it is. I wanted to at least be around until my son's 5, so you know his dad loves him. I was a perfectionist. I was over it. I come to faith and I tell God, I'll give you my skating. Here it is, you know, set it aside like a korban, go for it. I'll get baptized. I'll do whatever you want to do. I'll even remarry this woman. In 3 weeks, she comes to faith. In 3 months, we're remarried. My son today is flying to, you know, New York to go to a vineyard church. My daughter Eden is 9, and my son Jude Micah is 6. So God restored.
You've got 3 kids with the same woman you fell in love with.
With the same woman.
With the same woman that really, in all fairness, the devil himself tried to keep you away from.
John 10:10.
Yeah,
Steal,
you know,
kill, and destroy.
I tell people all the time, I said, the day you say I do, you have signed a certificate of war with the enemy. He wants to destroy that relationship because in doing so, he destroys not only a part of your life, he destroys your children, he destroys your grandchildren. He gets multiple generations
all your legacy,
with one dynamic. And so, you know, because it was out of balance, it was destroyed, but you brought it back into balance with faith. And the thing is people say, well, he gave it all up. Did you give it up or did you get it back?
We gained it all. Listen, you're not giving up so much. You were gaining the whole world, losing your soul. And even what you said, I mean, the devil didn't show up in the garden until they were married. So think about that. Not to say marriage is bad, but I mean, the Bible is a story. He didn't have a target. And you know, Genesis is about marriage. Revelation is about marriage. The Bible is about a king coming to slay a dragon to redeem his bride. The Bible is the story. And even if you're not married, it's about you and your bride.
One thing about every marriage is it's a lot of revelation involved in it.
So what did you and your wife do? What are some like 3 tips if somebody's watching,
You know,
like they could start? Did you?
Well, here's the best advice I give someone, you know, would you marry yourself?
Heck yeah.
No.
But think about it. You're sitting there's your wife.
I love me.
But what I'm saying is the idea is you've got to realize God's working on you as an individual, working on you as an individual. Now he puts you both together, you're cleft, you become one. How is he going to help you grow? Die to yourself, crucify yourself, carry your cross. It's through this union, and it is beautiful, but the whole idea of Christianity is dying to self. Romans 8:28 through to 9.
Now, I see your name at the bottom of the book. But is this a book that you wrote on your perspective? Is this something that you wrote with your wife? Is it something that couples sit down and read together? Is this primarily for husbands? How would you recommend the engagement?
I would say this is for singles, courting, married, everything. This is my wife saying, hey, why don't you put out everything we've been through and approving it? But this is if you were sitting with me today, Brian, we were raised in the church. My father's a pastor, yada, yada, yada. But we think God has called us to separate. Can you show me that in the Bible? This is 10 chapters, theology, that's saying who God brings together, let no man separate. This is Jesus saying, my sheep hear my voice. And this is the reality that as you started with, covenant of marriage is the most significant. You know, Kendal is the first sheep in your life, before the hunting, before the children, before me, before anyone. This is saying to people, guys, we have got this. Because if your life is lived out through the focus of the Great Commission and your marriage is understood like Jesus understood his, dying for it, your life's going to be different. So it's very serious, though. It's not just like, here's some thoughts. It's
it's a book that couples sit down and
yes, absolutely.
You know, read together, read
it,
apart.
and then you converse, and we throw ourselves under the bus, and you go, well, hey, this is when
Don't do it,
this is when.
Well, and the transparency of your story is what gives people a point to relate.
It's all confidence. It's all, you talking to me about hunting, he knows hunting. Me talking about marriage, we know what not to do, and God told us how to do it. So,
well, I know that each and every one of you watching are going to have something valuable you can find in this book. I want to give you the chance to have a better marriage, and that begins the day you decide that you can bring balance back to the relationship that God gave you. When we come back, Stacy Lyn and Kendal are going to be here to share with us some tips that you might need to know when it comes to gardening.
Dear Pastor Hagee, I just wanted to write you to say how honored Rayla Jean and I are to to have been partners in your ministry all these years, and to see all the amazing things you've accomplished around the world with the gifts we and others like us have gladly given over the years. Furthermore, it has been so refreshing to see the younger generations coming on board to partner with you in spreading Christ's message to the world.
I want to welcome you both to partnership with John Hagee Ministries. Together, we will make a great impact for Christ around the world.
May God continue prospering you in all your endeavors, your dear friends, Ron and Rayla Jean.
I want to thank you, our Salt Covenant partners, for making it possible for us to preach the gospel to the nations of the world. Thank you, and God bless you.
Become a Salt Covenant partner today. Call the toll-free number on the screen or visit us online at jhm.org.
What you see is a child reaching for her mother. There is nothing more beautiful than for a child to know that they're loved. There are thousands of children who are reaching for someone who will not reach back because they're not there. This is the reason we're building the Sanctuary of Hope. I want you to help me help these children have a mother that will take care of them, that will love them, that when they cry in the night, someone will come. When they get hungry, someone will feed them. When it comes time to teach them the way of the Lord, that someone will be there. And together, with the Sanctuary of Hope, we can make this happen. God bless you for all that you do to make the Sanctuary of Hope a reality.
Help give the gift of life. Call the number on the screen or visit jhm.org.
Enjoy watching The Difference but want a more behind-the-scenes look? Learn interesting facts about our guests, comment on our segments, and find out more about the show by following Matt and Kendal on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Keep watching The Difference and follow us on social media to find out more.
Welcome back to The Difference. We're with Stacy Lyn, and she's sharing some gardening tips with us. Now, you know, there's a lot of people that think gardening's for kind of those grouchy old women that are retired and don't have anything to do. But who started the garden in your family?
Well, we kind of started after the hunting thing because we wanted to get more healthy. And so we would start with a few things, and it was very, very slow because we didn't know what we were doing.
Trial and error.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking error. And so, and anyway, and then, you know, we started, it started just really spiraling. And then eventually my son got really involved in it. And so he started going deep into it. So, you know, where we graft things and
the kids kind of brought it to the forefront of the family.
They did.
So
now, I know
it's another
also
thing brings balance to the house.
Balance. Also, people though, I have friends that say I have no space to garden. I don't have an acre of land. I live in a small house, but you can.
Pretty much, you can do it anywhere. If you have a little bitty tiny balcony or a front just walkway, you can do a pot and make it an Italian pot. I have this in my book.
Italian.
Where
So what makes this Italian?
Well, the tomatoes and then the basil right here, then the oregano, the rosemary. You can put, you know.
And these are the basic ingredients like tomato sauce and pizza sauce and all that other stuff. So.
And you'll just run outside. You can tell one of your kids, hey, go get me everything I need to make sauce. And there it is. So
Great. So how do you start? You got the pot, you got the dirt.
You got the pot and you've got dirt, and then there's just planting soil.
Run-of-the-mill dirt, planting
soil, and you'll put this. You'll just go buy a bag, you know, at your
Home
local
Depot,
store.
Lowe's.
That's right. And then you get your plants that you want. And right now, you know, I have an Italian pot here, but this I'm going to make a nice herbs de Provence pot. You can put all these herbs in soups, and you will not believe how great they would be. Yes.
Right, so we take this out.
Yes. That's right. You're going to help me? You're going to get your hands dirty?
Why do we want to take it out of this?
You don't have to.
No, you don't plant that.
You just can take off
the label.
You just
plant
the plastic.
That's just
we just don't want to do the plastic. There you go.
Plastic.
Yes. So for the environment, and it doesn't help.
And you just put the soil, pat it down.
Just pat it down.
And there's no rule on you can have only certain, or you can put as many as you want in here?
You can, but you want to give the roots space to go. And in people, too, for design, say 3 is better than 3 is better than 4, or an odd number. And you can just put them in here, and you've got a great Herbes de Provence pot. If you had a really, really big pot, you could add more to this pot because there are a lot of herbs like lavender.
Now, what are the rules that you're supposed to?
What's this one? Because
this is thyme, this is basil oregano. Now, you put all of that in your Herbes de Provence, but you'll need lavender flowers, which are beautiful little flowers that you grow. You could do lavender. You can, put several other, things in here, chicory, all kinds of stuff. So
now, I'm a schedule person. Do you tell us how often you water? Or
it'll kind of depend. Before they're dead.
Well, no, that's why I always think I wait.
Water on a dead plant.
Supposed to water on a schedule?
Not necessarily. And some herbs like to dry out. It kind of
Okay.
depends on the herb itself. And so,
there's a sermon title there. Some herbs like to dry out.
Yeah, before they get too much.
Put more soil.
You need to just try to get all of the little pockets of air out before you water it. And then, once you get it good and watered, then, and I'm kind of messy about
it. I like that.
It's supposed to be
and
messy.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Get your hands dirty, get your kids involved.
And get all of the pockets of air out before you put your water in.
We're going to hashtag this show, Getting Dirty.
Yeah.
So
okay,
now,
so we got that.
Here's a question I have about the tomato plant.
Okay.
This thing's going to grow up, right?
That's right.
So as it grows up and it's in this pot, if you're doing this on a limited space, what do you need to do to keep this from collapsing?
You just put a stick in here and then wrap a little piece of pantyhose. Yeah, and one of my sons, somebody came down the other day from upstairs saying, somebody got into my pantyhose, and I'm like, I hope not. And so, but it was for the garden.
The garden. I love that. Use what you have.
That's right. That's
now,
right.
Does a hair tie work, or
You could use that, but but you don't want it to tear. Like if you use something like
Joe
fishing
Namath,
string.
If you're watching, we found another purpose for pantyhose. You found them on cold days as a quarterback.
That's right. That's right.
Hey, the tomatoes, they love them.
Now, what about the herbs over here?
Okay, so herbs are extremely healthy. Pretty much all herbs are cancer fighting because they have antioxidants. And rosemary is great for digestion, and basil is great for lowering fevers. Can you even believe that? I know, it's amazing. And then we have,
So you can put these in separate pots and put them throughout in your little space.
Exactly,
you don't have to have a large space.
Yeah, and parsley is great for digestion. And
Did
I
not
even
just
noticed
eat that.
I was just,
it's great.
bringing my temperature down.
Yeah.
It's just,
Hey, and when you make a pizza, just put these raw on them. Oh my goodness gracious. It just, elevates the food like you would not believe.
Well, Stacy Lyn, you've showed us quite a lot today. Again, more information in her book, and I encourage you to get that wherever books are sold. Also, I want you to consider ways you can bring balance to your life. That's right. These plants are growing because everything that they need is in balance. They've got a balance of soil, of moisture, of air, of light. That's right. You're going to grow when you bring balance to your life and make a difference in the lives of others as you do. Stacy Lyn, thank you for joining us. Brian Sumner, all the best to you. We look forward to seeing you again right here on The Difference.